and do some steps to help counteract what you just ate, and like you say, it did make you feel better, and I just kept walking around the room over and over. I mean, I know I could have like walked around the lobby, but there weren't really like a lot of people around by then, and I'm like, I just want to hammer these out and get to bed. So, that's what I did. I just hammered them out and then went right to bed, so, but yeah, like you say, Derek, Eric, just kind of trying to pre-plan and think about it, and actually even at lunch, I was surprised. I actually ordered a salad because it sounded really good. And because I was like, I had my carb blocker, I was ready to splurge, but that the one salad that they had there just sounded really good. And I got it and it was amazing. So I was like, oh, okay. I ate pretty good. So then of course, I had popcorn at the rodeo, which popcorn wasn't awful, but
Wasn't that rodeo great?
Oh God, yes, definitely. So it's again, a balance. And like you say, I try to tell people if, you're going on vacation or whatever, just, try to drink as much water as you can. Usually if you're on vacation, you're walking around, so you should be getting your steps, pretty close. Obviously not everybody does 10,000 a day, but just, and then while we were in the airport too, before we got ready to take off, each time I kind of like walk the concourse a little bit just to pad myself a little bit, just in case, because I don't want to come home and have to do like 5,000 steps once I got home. So, again, like you say, it's just a little bit of pre-planning, Yeah. So.
That's really, it doesn't take much. I think, for most people, if it's just, oh yeah, I'm going to be traveling, let me give it a little bit of thought. It all comes together. Hey guys. And
then going back to your little vitamin thing that you said, your Sunday through Saturday vitamin trays that you do them all. Oh my God, it was so easy to pack for conferences. I'm like, oh, I just need to take these and and what I did is I just took a couple days and put each day in a Ziploc bag and just took my Ziploc bags with me, but it was like, oh my God, before it seemed like it took me forever to pack all my vitamins. And I was like, oh, boom, I'm done, So again, like you say, just another little thing. Little things mean a lot. That's my time.
I took your, sorry.
I had more stuff.
No, good stuff. Very, very good stuff.
But I think what Kathy said about the Ziploc bags, I used to have these little pouches, but unfortunately I take so many vitamins, they don't fit in the pouches. And so the little snack Ziploc bags, and I just put Thursday AM, Thursday PM, Friday AM, Friday PM. And it's really nice because when you're busy and running around in the hotel room, you can just grab that bag and it's all set up for you, and it's very, very simple. So it's kind of like the snacks, if you prepare it in advance and you have those easy grab tos, you can get it done pretty fast. And Kathy, you mentioned you didn't get your fruit in, and Hank thought about that. And with the superfoods and the immunity, he just packed some of that. And so we did get the fruit in, not in the form of a piece of fruit, but in a scoop of fruit with the powder. So you might want to think about that when you're packing your things. I also have a little thing that I pack my chia seeds in, and that gives me the additional fiber that I like. So I think what you guys said is all part of preparation and knowing, what your daily routine is and try to get to it as quickly and easily as you can. And I think if you're walking through the airport, the steps pretty much are not a huge problem, because if you're going from gates to gates and what have you, a lot of times you can get the steps in there too on the days that you're traveling. When I was listening to you guys, I was observing out here and I was trying to flip over and take a picture. And unfortunately, I couldn't do it. It just kept blurring. So anyway, but there was a woman, I'm passing her house right now. I'm going to say she's an Asian woman, tiny, probably somewhere in her 80s. I'm going to suggest, but I really don't know. But she has a walker. And she walks with her stability, but she's out there walking this morning. This is 8:00 in the morning.
Wow.
Most people are tucked in their beds. And here is this little Asian woman. She certainly hasn't got an ounce to lose, but she's walking for stability. And she has her little thing that, to make sure she keeps stable on the road. But she's out there walking. And I'm thinking to myself, and then I see a number of other people, I don't see them right now, but walking their dogs. And I think, well, if you're walking your dog, how about the people that don't have a dog? How about walking yourself? Sometimes people will put more importance on walking their dog than they will getting their steps in for their own personal health. That group is so great because, Eric, it was nice because you posted some cute pictures of us outside the rodeo. You posted some pictures of the panel. I think one picture of the panel, but it's nice because people can see that we're part of the health and wellness community, and we do fun stuff together while following our HealthPointe. And no, everybody's not going to be in that arena, but it's nice. And then HealthPointe testimonials and little one-liners like your assistant has been able to provide us with. I mean, all that stuff is really great for that HealthPointe Facebook. So I really encourage everybody, when you're talking a big, broad variety of things, because you never know what avenue is going to catch somebody's interest, whether it be their health, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's just amazing to me, Carol, about, this isn't the first time. This is like probably the umpteenth time. And I know many of you on the call that communicate with Carol regularly will attest to this. You are just a connecting machine, you and Hank. I mean, it's like, hey, I had 27 seconds in a coffee shop, and I fixed. It's not only the connection, but then you do the all important step of then scheduling the time to further develop that. And I just want to thank you for your example, Carol, because it's just part of who you are, part of who you and Hank are. You've developed it as a skill set. And I think Emily and I are really good with connecting with people. What we need to, like that initial connection, what we need to do, and we are doing more of, and then learning from people that like yourself, and that is to go to the next step of getting that contact information and setting something up, whether it be a Zoom or a phone call or something like that.
You might want to bring Hank on, because he had the very same situation, but it was like at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m. at the airport. So I don't know if Hank is on, but he might want to tell you his little experience, because he's great at this.
Yeah, I think Hank is on. Whether he's on and ready, I don't know. But if so, we'll probably...
I can hear you guys.
All right.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. After you do this for so many years, initially you got to push yourself to do that. Okay. But eventually it becomes who you are. If you push yourself long enough, that's who you become. It was uncomfortable at first. I remember when I first started reaching out to people, I used to go to these group things, big gatherings, networking groups. And I had a hard time opening my mouth to talk to anybody. Then I finally told myself, what if let me pretend I'm the hosting that whole meeting. I've got to reach out and say hello to people, right? If I'm the host. So I told myself in my mind, says, okay, I'm going to walk in that meeting. I'm the host. And just start saying hi. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? Things going okay? Just little things like that. Not approaching about business, but just to open my mouth and start talking to people. Because engineers are not very talkative, reaching out type people, all right? So I had to just make that change. Started mentally, physically, and then became who I am. And as uncomfortable as I was, let's put it this way, as sleepy as I was on this trip to uh, Fort Worth, and 4:30 in the morning. We're sitting at this airport, right? I was still half asleep, but the guy sitting next to me, I just had to say hello. It's just a normal reaction. I feel uncomfortable if I don't do it. That's what it becomes, and it becomes you, and it becomes fun. And we're still very connected. We've communicated quite a bit during this week. He's been in Miami, and he's supposed to be coming back this weekend. So the connection is there. And I had to do it through LinkedIn. That's what he uses, which I was not very familiar with, but now I'm catching up with it. Okay, so we're always reaching out to new areas, new ways whatsoever. And one last thing, I don't want to take up a lot of time, but last night we were at a homeowners association social session, and quite a few people there. And I'd always look for some people I never met before. And I saw this young man. His name is Edward. Seemed like a pretty sharp guy. And he was in conversation with two other people for quite some time. So I just sat there and I listened until I was able to find an opening where some of the other guys had to go out and get some food off the table. And he was sitting there by himself. Says, "Hi, I've been listening to your conversation." He's a very interesting young man. He's young compared to me, right? So everybody's a young man to me, a young lady. But and then we just started a conversation. But then eventually they came back, they started talking again. But after they were leaving, I stayed until he was alone. We really got to a good conversation. And to me, health and wellness is such an easy topic to start talking about. That's what we start talking about. It says, you look at it like you're in good shape. I complimented him. When you give somebody a compliment, they want to hear more, right? And that's so very true. I didn't attack him or anything. He says, how do you stay in shape? What do you do? So we got the conversation going. And then he looked at me and says, yeah, you look like you're in good shape too, And I says, well, I work at it. I'm up in years, as the years go by, you got to work a little harder. But I've learned I need to, because to me, health is wealth, And so that's how the conversation started. We made a good connection, and we got ways to reconnect again now, and it looks real good. So anyway, just some thoughts I want to share with you. You got to push yourself in the beginning. If you're not comfortable with it, just pretend you're a host and compliment somebody. And that they love to hear compliments. So that's my piece of information for today, guys. Keep it going. You got a great.
I was so proud of Hank when he did that, and I'm thinking, people's eyes are half asleep, and here's Hank, who's had probably an hour and a half sleep at best, and not in his bed, because I won't let him sleep in his bed, in our bed, while we're traveling, because I don't want to have to make the bed up. So the poor man was sleep deprived, and yet he still said hi. And I'm thinking, it's a little one-liner. Whatever you got to do, whatever it is. Sometimes with Hank, just said hi, and you got to open your mouth first. And my husband is a pro at that. He just pushes me. It's funny because we were having lunch in our quick connection back home at the airport, and there was a young lady waitress, and I thought in my mind, here you go, here I am at this stage of the game, and I'm still thinking this way. Oh, I'm just going to eat, and she's a young lady waitress, blah blah blah. So Hank says, why don't you talk with her and prospect her? And so he pushed me into doing it, and it ended up a great conversation and connecting over artistry. And so you just don't know. But here was my husband that pushed me into doing it, when sometimes we just want to get lazy and say, oh, we'll let that one slide by. But who knows where any of them are going to lead. We can't let any of them slide by.
Yeah, that is such great stuff. And I have a comment to make about the, as a couple thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to that in a moment once I get out of the neighborhood here, because it is early here. And I'm going to get on a walking path, and I'll come back on and talk more. but I want to circle back to working as a couple out there, but going around the horn here. Larry, you were on, I believe, still. So Larry, if you're ready to go, and then we'll probably go to Billy and David but Larry, if you're ready, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Eric. Hope you're enjoying that California weather out there, okay?
California living.
Hey, you know what? I was, we have books that we are also reading as well. And one of the ones we talk about is Atomic Habits, but one of the books that we had a little while ago was Finished. I mean, just the title alone, gives you the motivation to, it's like, what haven't I finished, so that we can finish doing things. But in one of the chapters that I was reading, it was talking about when people are doing things perfect, he said, don't try to be perfect because there is no perfect, and so he was talking about being consistent, but he was saying that when is the best time to get back on track when you leave perfect? Okay, now I don't know. What do everybody think? When is the best time to start?
Right now.
Yep, right then, right after you go imperfect.
Yeah.
Then the best time to start is to start right after you mess up. It's like, okay, get right back on track. Okay, it's kind of like falling off the bike. If you fall off the bike, don't just lay there. Get up, pick up the bike, get back on, get going again. And and I found that that's helpful. Like you said, Eric, we were traveling. As a matter of fact, when we left the conference, we went to my sister-in-law's house, and so they had more and more food there. But I've learned to eat before I eat what other meals are out there. So that I don't have hunger, and I'm just ravished, and I just have to eat everything that's there. And then temptation is there as well, right?
Yeah.
And even if you do mess up, guess what? It's like, okay, next time I get a chance, get right back on track. And I used to take my my manual with me because sometimes things that I thought that was in the manual that it said to eat, I just wanted to eat them and they weren't in the manual. So I had to realize that, okay, I am watching the things that I eat and checking to make sure that it's there. Now I know it well enough that I know which things I should and should not eat. You eventually get to that point as well. And
but it is a surprise sometimes in the beginning, isn't it? I mean,
that's
like
just think what you think that's on there.
Yeah. Who else got tripped up, on avocados, right?
Right.
Avocados are awesome and they're healthy and they're great once you lose the weight and are in lifetime maintenance. But when somebody's in weight loss mode, avocado is notably absent from the HealthPointe food list for a reason.
Right.
Eric, before we wrap up, and I don't want to interrupt Larry, I just wanted to say I've got some comments on the avocado and HealthPointe and where it's going. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. I was going to say, last thing I was going to say was I thought grapes was on there because I really love grapes. I found out they're not on the list at all. Okay. And I guess they have a high sugar content, so it's not something that we have in our HealthPointe program. Oh, and one other thing, whenever, Gina and I usually do our walks separate, but sometimes we walk together. And I noticed, we'd be walking, we'd be going the same distance. And when we get back, we check our Fitbits, and Gina would have more steps than I would. And so one day I was experimenting and I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take shorter steps. And so I took shorter steps. Now, I didn't have as many steps as she had, but I did have more steps. So, I'm not sure whether that's, save all or anything else, but it did give me more steps. So anyway, that's all I had to add. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share that.
But yeah, that's some great stuff. And yeah, you're a tall guy, so you got long strides. So I get that. Yeah, I always kind of poke Emily in the ribs and say, sure, no wonder you've got so many steps. Look at your height, you know. I try to find my excuses where they fit, right? So, all right. Billy Wright, I think you're on when we started. Billy from back from Texas, where many of us were. If you are available, I'd love to hear from you. There you are. Good morning.
Morning, how you doing, Eric? Sorry I missed that comment, but I really wanted to be there, but I had some issues that came up, and I didn't have nobody to take that job what I really wanted, and I just said I'm gonna have to step up to the plate and do it myself. But anyway, it's great to be here this morning with you and all the rest of you all. But I guess the only thought I have this morning is that the biggest thing is that seem like is I learned a whole lot, and I guess it seems like the biggest thing is it changed. I had to change a lot. What I mean by change is that my, I had some issues that came up, and in order for me to change to correct my issue, I had to make some changes on that. But anyway, I want to get back to one of the things that, like Larry was saying, that I agree with, and that for me is that, let's see, I lost my thought. But anyway, everything's been going great, but I guess I have to continue to improve what I'm doing.
Well, we heard about your issue with the baby calf from your wife. That was hopefully the heifer, the mother came around, but of all things, it happened just before the conference for a mother cow to abandon the baby. But good thing you were there, Billy, to step in and save the day.
Yes, everything going great with that calf now. It's a bull calf, and I noticed that one of the things what I had to do was I had to put that calf with some more bull and make sure that calf takes some exercise there like everything else. You know, like human beings. You know, you just can't lay down and just sleep all day. You got to move around. And you got to play or something like that. But anyway, everything going great. I got up this morning, fed him. He came, he ate, and he done good. But I guess my thought that came back is that I learned a lot from you and also Carol Zampa and Hank and all the rest of you all. But I guess the one thing that I learned that the books changed me also. It's one book that I always have read, and I think that book was great. It's by Earl Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret. And I got a lot out of that. But every time I read that book, every time I write down my gratitude statement, I always think about Carol Zappa. And one of the things I get from her is that she always set goals. And then when you set goals and things, you got to work on them. And I have to discipline myself all the time to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do. Sometimes I get way behind sometimes, but I just got to continue to do what I got to do.
Oh, that's great. And boy, that is a classic Earl Nightingale. Many of us, I'm sure, are familiar with The Strangest Secret, one of the classic early books, and then his audio, yes, which I think was probably originally, it goes back so far, it was originally like on records, like vinyl records, but that deep baritone Earl Nightingale, it just compels you to listen to it just to hear his amazing voice. So thanks for sharing that, Billy. And I think there's lessons to be learned in that little hiccup with you. Well, in that, but also with your work with the calf. And we'll take lessons no matter what subject, but isn't that like sometimes people that we're helping in HealthPointe, sometimes they get, I don't want to say abandoned, but they have a difficult time, and you're kind of like that calf's coach. came in and
Yeah.
helped to get back on its feet. So there we go. Well, listen, we are going to swing around the horn to David Dassau. Good morning, David.
In response to the original question and some of the things other people have said, again, about connecting, Hank and Carol have pounded on me that audio MCA, and I continue to listen to that over and over again. And I'm good at meeting people. I'm actually pretty good at connecting with people. It's going for the appointment I sometimes get caught up in the other person's energy, and I start following. They're leading me instead of me leading them. And I walk away going, oh, I had a great conversation, but I didn't lead the conversation the way I wanted to. So MCA, you can't listen to it enough. It's as Larry said about finish. It's I'm nowhere near perfection, and that's one that helps me stay on track.
And that's a Massimo Pini, right?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Then your question about being away, and so I find that if I'm by myself or with my wife and I have no problem staying on track. But however, when I'm with like family vacations, that is much more challenging. And part of it is that I'm my past history. I still am, but I'm very much a people pleaser. And when I had my health problems 2.5 years ago, and I started this track, I had to put my family on notice that I'm taking care of me. I'll get to you, but I got to take care of me first. And that goes back to when I was a preschool teacher, and I worked with babies from birth to 3, special needs babies, and I would work with the parents, and especially the moms. And these moms were just like deer in the headlight. They were so exhausted. And one of the things I would constantly talk to them about is that you got to take care of you. Your child's depending on you. Your whole family's depending on you. So, you got to strive to get the sleep you need and those kinds of things. But when you get on HealthPointe, part of it is you're now creating some new habits that other people are going to be uncomfortable with. And so you got to remind yourself that you want to take care of yourself. And then lastly, about adapting, I always have bars on me because, again, funny thing on vacation, it's like, my family's eating their, 5th waffle. And then as they have the final bite, the next question is, where's the next meal? They're always worried about where the next meal is. And so anyways, for me, having the bars in my bag or easy access always gives me a sense of comfort that I know that I'm going to make it to whatever the next meal is when I'm on vacation. I can just have a quarter of a bar, some water, and everything's going to work out. So, that's
get
enough.
That blood sugar. No, that is great stuff. I think we've got the makings of what to do when you travel series here on this Zoom. This has all been really, really great. And the bars being prepared. Isn't it amazing? And Carol, I know you mentioned this as well, and we've all experienced it. You just get that bit of protein. We know how that affects the blood sugar. And, if our blood sugar, first of all, if we're on HealthPointe, and we all can attest to this, we don't have those wild, crazy swings of hangry type stuff, typically. That's usually a result of, eating highly processed food, quick processed carbs and sugars that sends your blood sugar through the roof, and then your pancreas kicks out the insulin, and it comes plummeting down like a roller coaster. And then we're just going crazy in our head with where's our next, like you say, a waffle, because you usually crave not good food but more junk food. And so if we're nice and level, but of course it's eventually our blood sugar is going to dip down, and man, just a little bit of protein bar or boiled egg or something like that, and we're just back in the groove. So no, these are really, really great tips.
I have one more point.
I call the bars nutritional insurance. And so David was insuring himself nutritionally.
Yes. One more thing, because it's a pet peeve of mine, and I don't have very many. And that's if you go to like a birthday party, any type of celebration, and the people who say, they tend to be, 1,000 pounds, and they say, I can't have any birthday cake because of whatever. And so for me, it's just really important. I'm on HealthPointe and I take care of myself. But if I'm at a party, I have a really thin piece of cake because I'm participating with the family and whatever's going on. And then I may leave half the cake on my plate, but I don't make a big deal out of having some ice cream or having some cake. And as Larry and I talk about all the time, after I sin on a weekend, there's always a protein day on Monday.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, kind of kick it back in gear.
You're not a HealthPointe
No, I
martyr.
love that cake part too. Yeah, no HealthPointe martyr. And what was the David Dornan one-liner? He said, when it comes to HealthPointe, first rule of HealthPointe is don't be weird, right?
Yeah.
Don't be the one that at that birthday party, everybody else is having some cake and ice cream. I mean, I love it. First thing is don't be weird. I can't tell you how many times I've used that with clients. They're like, okay, I've got this graduation coming up. We talk about ending the day before, the day after. We talk about having a protein snack, before as they're pulling in the driveway. But before we get all to any of that, the first tenet is don't be weird. Don't be, saying, oh my gosh, I'm on this, this plan and I'm going to sit over here in the corner by myself and nibble on a piece of broccoli while you guys are having your cake. I mean, don't be weird. We'll be fine with a little piece of cake. Hey, a couple of things, and then I guess we'll wrap up here. And Carol, I'll turn it back over to you if you'd like for the wrap up. But a few quick things. On the grapes, I picked up on the grapes. I want to talk about the grapes, the avocado, and then the couple things real quick. Grapes. So I was following some results of some studies. There's a lot of CGM companies out there, continuous glucose meters, and they have a lot of the, just treasure troves of data from their clients, what food was it that spiked their insulin, their blood sugar the most. And in the fruit category, the number one was grapes. Now, is it because grapes are sugary, like you mentioned, Larry? Yes, but guys, that's not the reason grapes are number one. The reason grapes are number one is because they tend to be eaten in isolation. If you pair a piece of fruit with a fat or a protein, it will slow down the digestion and it will blunt that spike in your blood sugar. But what do people do with grapes? They usually don't eat it with yogurt. They usually don't eat it with a piece of protein. We sit down, we eat a whole bunch of grapes. So that's why grapes were number one spike to blood sugar. So a quick note on that. Secondly, and Carol, I'll tee this up for you. I don't know if you want to comment more on it, but, HealthPointe, to their credit, follows the science. And I think you've heard from Carol that they're going to be, just tweaking and adjusting HealthPointe to do that. And things like avocados and the whole concept of healthy fats is one that I think HealthPointe is kind of stepping into a little bit more. So we may see some adjustments on that, and that's really cool. Lastly, on the couple thing, Emily and I have really learned to get better on that. And that is, conversations with people. If we're at an airport, if we're at a coffee shop or what have you, we're both pretty shy people. I know you might not think I am, but I am. And, but that said, when we're out in public, I will, try to make it, a habit to connect with people. I actually do enjoy that. But what we had to learn as a couple is, we had to have conversations, Emily and I, like, Emily, this is what I'm doing when I'm connecting. If you hear me talking with somebody, I am aware if we've got 20 minutes to get to such and such a spot. Trust me, I'm aware of that. So what we want to do is we want to work together here. If I'm in conversation, because have you guys ever had those situations where you're with someone, maybe with a spouse, and you're chatting with somebody and you feel this psychological tug on your sleeve. Maybe they're not physically tugging with you, but there's this psychological, come on, And so she didn't mean anything by it, or vice versa, me to her, but it did take, right, that couple's communication, like, hey, let's chat about this a little bit. Let me start with the fact that, I'm out to connect, and I'll be doing that. Good morning. And so, this is, we can impact people's lives. We can impact our own lives. We can bless them. We can bless ourselves. And in order to do that, that means that when we're in a grocery line, I'm going to make eye contact and try to start a conversation. So, just a little bit of conversation about that. And it really helps, like, between Emily and I. And now she's like the communication queen. I mean, she's really just come right into it and just kind of a bit of a chatterbox. I'm like, who is this woman, that I married? And it's really great to see her kind of chatting it up and along with me. And then I think, with like Carol, you and Hank, I know that, if the two of you are together in an airport or wherever, team, you'd be connecting with.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I stepped out of a signal, I think. So I was listening to you, and boy, I'll tell you, we had a conversation about Emily a while back, and what a little dynamo she is.
Yeah.
Demeanor. And I'll tell you something, sometimes having that by your side is so powerful. And I hope, even if Emily doesn't want to say anything, even if she's on the testimonial with you on Thursday night, she's just a powerful, powerful asset. And 1 + 1 = 11. So many times I've said that to couples. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 11. So if you put 2 ones side by side, that's 11 times more powerful. And everybody brings something valuable to the table. So, Emily, if you're on, you are a great asset to Eric. Never, ever deny that. So, all that being said, I think it was David or Larry, might have been David, talked about being great on connecting. And the word that came to my mind was connecting to connector. So if you're connecting with somebody, find a connector. And the connector would be something, it doesn't have to even be business related, health related, anything related, but an opportunity to get their information to contact them and a reason, whatever you were talking about, and then you can lead it more into the direction you want to go if you have not had the time or opportunity to do that at the time when you're actually having that conversation with them. So I would think that word connector is that thread that takes you from when you were with them to picking up the conversation later on when you're not with them anymore. And Eric, you alluded to the HealthPointe. Yes, the HealthPointe is going to go through some adjustments, not changes, so to speak, but adjustments. Because in science, we are always learning new things. And one of the things that there's been a heavy emphasis on lately that has come to the attention of HealthPointe and Adam and Jeff Newber and others is the glycemic load. And of course, Eric's talked a lot about that. So we're all familiar with that. So I was privy to a small little gathering around a table with Network 21 at the weekend. And we're going to be doing a Zoom next Monday. But one of the things is paying more attention to the glycemic load, which you might now see some adjustments when HealthPointe does kind of reposition itself. And one of the things is more emphasis on healthy fats. I'm not saying you're going to be able to slather butter over everything and eat it by the chunks, But what I am saying is they're going to be addressing what some healthy fats are and incorporating those into the program, and also foods with healthy fats, which would be a food like avocado, or perhaps some very healthy nuts, unadulterated nuts, those types of things. And again, it'll be more than that. They're uncovering now, so I'll know more over the next number of weeks. But it's all in a very positive way. So when you're thinking of food, I have a glycemic load chart, and Eric, I'm sure you have dozens of them, so far ahead on this than I am. But this glycemic load food chart is something that I've had for years. And I think when you look at it, it's going to kind of tell you a story. One of the things, and I'll wrap it up with this, one of the things that really stuck out at me was when I was reviewing the food guide and the user manual and even the trifold that comes in the HealthPointe kit. I think it was the trifold that stuck right out at me because one of the top foods was Cheerios. Well, I can't tell you how long it's been since I've eaten anything that even resembles a Cheerio, but it's been a very long time, very, very long time. And I looked at the carb load on that, the glycemic load, and I wondered if put all those carbs into one bowl of cereal. It was beyond me. So they are going to be adjusting some of that. So we'll have more information as time goes on. I just wanted to put that little tidbit in your ear. So guys, just keep promoting the HealthPointe program. It's absolutely fabulous. I zoom in those slides of that man that he met on the cruise. If that doesn't tell it all, and I've got some good screenshots of that, so we can use that, because when he talked about the drugs that people are on, these quick fix drugs, and when he talked to the doctor about the guy that lost 300 and some pounds, whatever, he lost a lot of weight, 80 pounds in 800 days or something, whatever it was. And Stu asked the doctor, well, when he goes off, what'll happen? And the doctor very nonchalantly said, oh, he'll put it back on. It was a drug for life. Well, you need to use that story because we want a healthy lifestyle for life, not a drug for life. Healthy habits for life. And that's what we got in HealthPointe. So that's my story. Into it.
Well, that was great, Carol. Thank you so much. Yeah, who can forget Stu Men's chart on? He didn't come right out and call out the pharmaceuticals, but if you look at those charts, it was he was talking about metformin and Ozempic, and super great stuff there. So great that you were on that panel, Carol. Love that HealthPointe, follows the science, found in science many decades. This has been around, but at the same time, they don't let hubris thinking overtake them. And I just got to give a shout out on Adam. He's looking svelte. We talked to him. Adam Livingston, the COO of Network 21, just bumped into him in the Starbucks. Emily and I were chatting with him about some of these things with HealthPointe, and I commented how great he looks, and he's down over 30 pounds, guys. He's looking really.
And the best part of that, Eric, is that all the challenges that he had with his hand, the pain is gone.
Yeah.
And it was all due to inflammation and the change of his diet and the weight loss. The inflammation is gone. And he said, it's the first time in years that I have not been just absolutely riddled with pain. So with weight loss comes a lot of other benefits that are even better than the weight loss itself.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, guys, the sun is trying to peak up here over in Santa Rosa here. So we'll wrap with a little bit of a view here of where I'm at. So for those of you that are familiar, Santa Rosa is Northern California. This is wine country north of San Francisco. And it was also an area that was ravaged by fires. In fact, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Kevin and Lynn, had just completed construction on a beautiful, beautiful home. And I mean, literally, they had just finished the pool in the backyard and the fires hit and it turned it to ashes. Yeah. So but so what you're looking at out here, in fact, I don't know if you can see, if it shows in behind me, the hillside, the mountainside, the tops of the trees there, tops of the pine trees are bare. That's from the fires, that burn. And then behind me here is a valley. That's where they're really great on walking communities around here in Santa Rosa. And but what you might see on one of those hillsides up there is a couple of new construction homes. And, those were a couple of homes that, the way it happens with the fires, some homes burn, some homes don't, and there was a couple that either got burnt or maybe got so much smoke damage that there's a number of homes in this area. This is about 5 miles away from where their other home is, which, by the way, is being rebuilt or is rebuilt. It's basically rebuilt and they're good to go. But in the meantime, they're living at another home here. But it's a beautiful area. So that's it for me.
Eric, I just want to say, going back to the book, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life. They put a comma on that story. They didn't put a period on it. They put a comma on the story and rebuilt. And
yes,
kudos to them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's talk about an illustration of a real life illustration of a very, what could be a very, negative change in life. We were, front and center to their struggles going through that, including, like literally in the middle of the night, getting in the van and trying to get out of their community while the place is on fire, and getting neighbors out. They're in a gated community. And, when the fires come through like that, some, areas were losing power. So gates were locked and they're getting people out. Yeah. So there was a lot of, trauma going on, but they're back at it. Life keeps going. They're very resilient. They definitely just put a comma there and help people around them put a comma in, not a period, and move on and use it as a source of strength in their life story rather than let it define them in a negative way. It is amazing how resilient a community can be, individuals can be. There's a lot of lessons there for sure, but it's absolutely beautiful here. Can't wait to get back to Michigan though, but here for now. I guess if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and wrap that up. If anybody wants to turn their camera on or not, just say, final see you later, and we'll get maybe a clip on this for posting up on the HealthPointe Facebook group. And,
well, I can't put my camera on for some reason. I'll say goodbye.
Okay. All
We're
right.
spared the ugly, sweaty mess this week.
No, we love it. We love it. Okay. All right. So, with
hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista. All right. See you guys. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Yeah. Bye-bye.